This is for March 11th, 2015. This is my impression of Wario. And so the basic thing that I want to talk about right now is Splatoon. I've been sort of figuring out that my gut is pretty good so far at guessing at what dumb big AAA games are going to be pieces of shit. And so, like Watch Dogs, The Order. Watch Dogs, I think I said this in another video, but I called that on the very first trailer of Watch Dogs. I called that shit. I said, it's going to be disappointing, it's going to be a miserable mess, and I was right. So, I've been a little bit more, I've been trying to listen to my gut a little bit more with video games. I'm not always right, but that in The Order, which I called the first time I saw it, it looked not very interesting. I'm trying to use my gut more and just sort of trying to get that feeling out rather than trying to overthink it and come up with, I don't know, like I want to come up with funny responses, obviously, but I don't want to, sort of go, well, oh man, what if I'm wrong? So what if I'm wrong? I can be wrong. What's wrong with being wrong sometimes? You got to be wrong so you can figure out why you were wrong, so maybe you can be right next time. So, Splatoon, I've seen a little bit of, and I don't know. It's one of those things. When I first saw it, I wasn't too excited about it. I wasn't exactly thrilled. It was a third-person shooter, which, especially since Gears of War, I haven't really been very excited in that genre. And I think it was a new IP, and I was very apprehensive about it. I didn't know, is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Who knows? And so with Splatoon, I was very skeptical, but since the initial, I think it was like 2 years ago, a year ago, it was announced. The speed of it is the thing that is most interesting to me. That, I think, is going to make or break this. I think that's really the one thing that it has. Sunset Overdrive looked like shit, and I don't see anybody talking about that game. And that also, it didn't have speed. It's a very similar game as Splatoon. It's third person shooting and whatever. And I just looked at that and went, no, because it looks stupid. It's the dumbest sort of corporate punk design I've ever seen. Just no fucking life put into. Have you guys ever seen like designs and you just look at them and you go, nobody themselves thought up that design. There was a board meeting and they said this game should have a punk aesthetic mixed with bright 90s colors, and now go and make that for us. That's what Sunset Overdrive looked like. It didn't have any artistry. It didn't have any soul in it. Nobody was excited about really pushing that aesthetic and making it. And they were like, oh, I'm going to make it look great. I'm going to make it look amazing. Nobody said that about Sunset Overdrive. And Splatoon is, it's weird. I don't know, like the tentacles and everything is fine. I don't got a problem with it. The designs are, I don't know, they sort of bounce off me. I don't find them particularly interesting. But they're weird. They're like squids, because they shoot ink, I guess, or it's paint. And they slip and slide through it. And it's different enough that I can tell, as far as I can tell, this wasn't like they had a board meeting and went, squids are really popular right now, so let's make a game designed around squids. I don't think that happened. So that's the point towards it. But this Splatoon, for sure, no matter what, is a game that I'll have to play it before I buy it. I'm gonna have to play it somewhere. Because if I'm going to have to feel how it feels. I'm going to have to get those game feels, I guess is how I describe it, which is stupid. I have to feel how it controls. I have to feel how is it fun to shoot, to move around in this game? Doom is a game. Doom and Quake are two games that feel amazing to move around in. banking a shot to this day. Every once in a while, I'll pop up Quake 1 and I'll bank some grenade launcher shots, and man, it feels right. It feels perfect, and that, my friends, to reveal the true point of this video, that's the power of iteration. That you would not get the feeling of that grenade launcher just by thinking, I'm going to make a grenade launcher and then coding it. That is iteration. Always feel free when making something to iterate. Don't do it too much unless you got the time, or if you really know that you're going to find that perfect feeling, or if it really needs that touch. A grenade launch, a Quake's all about shooting, so of course, same thing with Mario. Movement, the way Mario moves is super important. Everything else is secondary to that, so iterate that a whole bunch. I think they spent like, I think it was Mario 64 where they spent just a shit ton of time and a bulk of the code focusing on how Mario moved. And that, again, then that's iteration. They had to tweak that constantly. Tweaking's good. Always tweak things. Don't just think that what spills out of your mind should be put to paper, which these videos are. And that's why they're so crude. But we're just getting, I have to catch up. I know I'm behind. It's terrible. I have to catch up. So we're going to be catching up here. This should be a whole bulk thing that's coming out anyways. So after this, we're going to be seeing some better stuff. Don't you worry. There's still going to be this sort of just spillage. Sometimes though, again, but this, like anything else, is sort of it's iteration as well. Some of these ideas that I'll talk about on these will probably show up on other places, and I feel that's fine as long as I improve upon it, and it's not just as long as I'm not recycling, but I'm reconfiguring or using it in another place that works better. But you got to be careful with that. You don't want to steal from yourself. Stealing from